The Mission Australia 2019 Youth Survey identified school and study problems to be of personal concern for young people aged 15 to 19. Studying while listening to music is such a personal preference that most people seem to either love or hate. Today I will share with you some information about why music might be an effective study tool and also why it could be a hindrance. And then we will talk about how you could incorporate intentional playlists into your study space and routine in both scenarios. Many of you probably already have a preference when it comes to music and studying. I know people who like to listen to music they know really well, people who can only listen to music they haven't heard before, people who can only listen to one specific genre, people who need lyrics, people who can't stand lyrics, and people who can't study to music at all. But for every personal preference, there's somebody out there with the opposite preference. While some people can only study in silence, others get too distracted by the various background noises and use music to drown them out and focus on the task at hand. Some people can only study to music they know really well, as they don't direct too much attention to it, but some people get too caught up in the personal associations they hold with that music and lose focus on their work. For me, when I was in uni, I usually didn't study with music playing. I often found myself getting too caught up in analysing the music and the lyrics and losing focus on my work. However, if I went to study at the library, where there were hundreds of other students all making noise, I would have a short playlist to help draw my focus into what I was doing. I would put on the playlist and sit with the intent of studying, and that short exercise would help to drown out all of the other distractions until it was just me and my laptop. And then I would turn the music off. An example of a song that I used is The Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel. For me, when I put on this song, the world around me just disappears and it's just me in my own little bubble. This was super effective in guiding my focus in that noisy library setting. That's one aspect of music that makes it a pretty cool tool to help with study and schoolwork. There are benefits to cognitive performance, which we'll go through, but there are also benefits to emotional and psychological states, which are equally as important when studying. While music may help with memory and learning, it can also relax, motivate, redirect, and be an effective trigger for the frame of mind needed to study. Here are some ways that music can be a great study tool to help with cognitive performance. Firstly, music activates all the different areas of the brain, which can increase your capacity for memory and maximize your learning. So, for some people, background music may help their brains to store information in their long-term memory. Music can also serve as a memory trigger, as the brain likes to associate different sensory elements together. You may have heard study techniques to do with colours, where if you use different colours to study different things, in an exam, that colour recall can help you to remember the information associated with it. The same goes for music. For instance, if you had a specific study playlist that you always listen to while you study, if you sing the songs to yourself in an exam, it could help you to remember the information you associated with it. Now here's an actual study technique involving music. As we know, music is great for memory and recall. Have you ever been in a situation where a song has come on and you haven't heard it since you were maybe 10 years old, and yet you still remember every word? That's because melody and rhythm are processed and stored in different areas of the brain than language. That's why people with dementia may not recognize their family members, but they can sing through a whole album of music. Also, our brain stores information best if we organize or transform it. If you have a block of information you need to remember, try turning it into a song. An easy way of doing this is to substitute the lyrics from a catchy song with your own lyrics. You could even record it with the voice memos on your phone, create a couple of songs for all your different subjects, and create a playlist entirely out of your own study material. It's a really effective way of information recall. But sometimes listening to music can be detrimental to your studying. Like we spoke about earlier, some people find it hard to concentrate on the task at hand if they're distracted by the music, if it has lyrics, if it's too catchy, and so on. Some people like to practice their exam in the same way as if they were sitting the actual exam, and there's no music in the exam room. It also depends on what you were studying. Some people are fine listening to music when revising, but can't listen to music if they're learning something new. Some people find it okay to listen to music when studying something like maths, but have to turn it off when they need to use words, like writing an essay. I think it's again important to talk about the intent behind the music listening and to think about what you want to get out of what it has to offer. Try setting an intention and a reason. For instance, if you choose to listen to music to help you, let's say, focus, you'll most likely have more benefit than if you simply put on some background music and hope that it helps you in some way. Think about your personal preferences. What kind of music would be best for you and when? And you could even try a little experiment where you try studying with music and then the next day try without and see where you felt more productive, more focused, and more motivated. If you do struggle with listening to music while studying, you can still incorporate music into your study routine. You should still try and find ways of using the benefits it brings, such as that increased dopamine and focus. When you play music and your brain releases dopamine, it can improve your attention span and motivation levels, but it doesn't necessarily have to be at the same time as studying. Instead of making a playlist to study to, perhaps try creating a playlist to get you into the study headspace, like I spoke about earlier. Or if you're experiencing a writer's block or procrastinating too much, try taking a break and relaxing or exercising with some music. You could also use music as a reward for after you have completed what needs to be done. So, when you sit down to create your playlist, have a think about the intent of your playlist. When are you going to use it and why? Have a think about what songs you want to put in it and think about how you usually react to them, how they influence your emotions, your mood, your mindset, and have a think about how you would go studying to them.